ahead and set that white card down on the floor.
So thick until, because I like what happens when I put, you know, that Bryce Martin on top of that poster. There's something about, you know, that picture of Alec Baldwin, you know, stuck on top of other things, or that little squiggle, because I know what's behind the stuff. I know exactly what it is. But it is not something that I work on. I want this to be a very uncontrived experience for me. If this starts to become a piece of art for me, I'll hate it tomorrow. So I need it to be completely without, you know, any pretense, you know. My name is Carin Goldberg, and I'm a graphic designer. I'm going to be 56 years old next year. I always bounce I've decided that instead of saying I'm 55 this year, I'm already trying to get used to the fact that I'm 56 in June. Some people may do it the opposite, but I like to get myself prepared for the bad news. I graduated from Cooper in 1974 and became a graphic designer sort of out of, I guess, practicality in a way. Financially, I wanted to be a painter. I have to say I still struggle with being on the fence of being a graphic designer and wanting to make my own work. I have a very stable, strong family life, and I'm very lucky in a million different ways. But I'm always, you know, searching. You know, I'm never content with my own work, and I'm never completely happy with where I am. You know, I always feel like I should be doing more, or that I should be better, or, you know, I'm when it comes to my creative life, I'm a malcontent. When it comes to my personal life, I feel very privileged. And that's actually hard, because I think that that's what makes it difficult to actually throw myself, you know, 10 million zillion % into my career, even though I think I've done pretty well. It's because I don't want to throw my personal life away either, and I'm not entirely sure that you can do both at the level that at least I want to do it. So I'm always struggling with that, every day, actually. It's sort of on my mind almost obsessively, and I struggle with it. I could probably go on. I'm always trying to lose weight. I don't know, you know. I think in the end, if you narrow it down, you know, maybe the thing I think I really want is to just have skinny thighs. It depends on the day. To some people, and to maybe some, especially younger women, I know that I get, a lot of people come to my talks and they like hearing my candor, but I'm sure that I have a following of younger women designers who think I have it all together, because it looks like I do. It's really difficult. And how do I do it? I don't know that I do. I make lists. I try to be organized and all that, and almost to a fault. But I don't know that I really feel that I have done it. Maybe to someone else I have, but I don't think I have. I'm a very good girl, and I live up to my obligations, which is not necessarily always the best thing for a creative person, because I think you have to be selfish, very selfish. I don't know that I'm selfish enough. I think that one of the reasons why I probably feel like I haven't gotten to the point in my career that would make me satisfied is because I'm not selfish, and I don't want to give up the internal, emotional relationships that I have with my friends and my family and with my students and with my colleagues, because I realize that actually is incredibly valuable to me. And I don't really believe that you can have all of that. I think that you have to make that choice. If I'm making choices, yeah, I would say that the first thing that comes, like the first thing on the list are people. Even if a student writes me a note, I roll my eyes and I'm annoyed and I think, oh God, I'm getting 400 of these a day. I may put it aside for a while, but I definitely answer it. Somebody told me that, they made a plan that they weren't going to answer their emails until the end of each day so they could get work done. And I think that's a really good plan, but I can't do it because I feel that there are people in my life who are trying to reach me, whether it's my husband or my son or my friend or a student or anybody that needs to talk to me at that moment, and that's the way we communicate with people. We don't call them on the phone anymore. Sometimes people mind them and you are surprised. There's a guy, Eric Baker, he decided to do something. He's a real collector, and he has a great, great, great eye. And he's been sending to all sort of a select group of designers every day, it's called Today, 20 some odd images from he goes on the internet and goes through his collection, he does tons of things, right? And it's a joy to see every day. It's so much fun. And I've been saving them. I put them in my, iPhoto thing. And some people throw them away because they're never going to look at them again and they know it. Now, it is sitting on my, desktop. I can access those images if I want to, but I most likely won't access them as much as I will look at what's on my board or, in my books. Because the physical nature of that, when I take my books to get inspired, I sit on the couch with a Post-it, with a cup of tea, and I go like that, and then I keep them out on the floor, and it's the physical process of that, it becomes comfortable for me. I like it. Now again, that's me. To say that I'm the doyenne of the only way to live is absurd. But my frustration with my students is how do I get them to find a way to access this kind of information to help them think, as opposed to just have 48,000 discs of stuff that they'll never unearth. I guess the image I have is that we're all standing on the whale and we don't know it, like this big hump that's suddenly like moving, like, oh my God, we're on it, we're in it. And we're not going to be able to see it for quite some time. As far as my own experience with that, I feel that, of course I'm betwixt and between everything. If you go through this house, there's more books than we know what to do with. And they're not even all here. And books are like this, again, this sort of a connection to, like that board, they're like my kids, I need them. And even if I don't crack them all the time, I know they're there. There's something about this, even I go on, if I have a question, I go to the internet and I ask it and I usually get the answer, and that's a very fantastic thing to be able to do. That's why we have laptops all over the house, because that's why we use them, we answer questions and troubleshoot and all that. And that's wonderful. But I think what happens is that you just have to be so much more selective, and you have to be a little more cynical with information that comes off the internet as opposed to other forms of information, because even like Wikipedia, is a perfect example. How do you know whether it's there's only a certain amount of vetting that Wikipedia does, and it just becomes part of the experience where we're reinventing fact and history on a daily basis. We're also in a position, and I'm sure blogs have been a part of your discussion as well, but the idea that it's all open game, it's all fodder for everyone's opinions. And just the other day, someone sent me a link for the New York Times design something or other, and it was the 20 top best book jackets of the year. So it was a writer, I guess, for the Times who does the design blog and picked them. And I had one of them on there, which was very nice. I hadn't done it was the first book jacket I designed in 10 years after I had quit doing book jackets for quite some time. And so it was kind of interesting to be on it. And then it was the blog, after that, and it was everyone's opinion about them. And my feeling was, I don't really care what you think. I know it was, no one said anything about mine, actually, so it wasn't a defensive reaction. It was just more about, can't we just let it be, and why do I have to hear from you about what you think and how you digress about this stuff? And there's a sort of, I almost think of it as a little bit of a psychosis, it just becomes so irrelevant at a certain point, and it allows people to kind of like intrude on the subject at hand, that I think it becomes personal and gossipy or whatever, and I don't know. I know that's cynical, and I know that's sort of defensive, and there's probably 100 reasons why there's a good reason for it too. But it's a waste of by the time you finish reading it, the life goes on and by. And now, one could also argue that people are just sitting behind their computers and not making things or doing things, and there's a lack of productivity out there. But frankly, I've never seen more productivity in the creative world than now. So it seems that there isn't just a bunch of, sort of computer potatoes out there reading blogs, that there's an enormous amount of energy out there. Maybe it's because I get to see that because I can see it on a website. I can go to Unbeige and I can go to 5 links and see somebody who's doing furniture design or somebody, or, and before I know it, I realize that there's like 1 million people globally making all kinds of stuff constantly. Now, were they making all kinds of stuff constantly 10 years ago, except that I just didn't know it? Or is it that there's something going on out there where there's this enormous zeitgeist, or there's this surge of the need to make things and to be creative? So I don't know. I don't know what that answer is, but I find it confusing as a creative person in terms of how I fit into the scheme of things.